In a world consumed by corruption and relentless violence, humanity teetered on the edge of total destruction before the Great Flood. The earth was a wasteland of sin, where mankind had strayed far from God's intended path, indulging in wickedness without restraint. The Bible starkly paints this picture of depravity in Genesis 6:5, "And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." In the face of this overwhelming corruption, God made a terrifying decision to cleanse the earth through a catastrophic, all-encompassing flood. Yet, in the midst of this chaotic generation, one man stood out like a beacon of hope: Noah. His righteousness and unwavering integrity set him apart. The Bible describes him as a just man, flawless in his generations, and someone who walked in close fellowship with God. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God, Genesis 6:9. This description underscores Noah's deep, unbroken relationship with God, a life lived in complete devotion to the divine. It was Noah's unshakable faith and obedience that made him worthy of God's extraordinary mission. God unveiled his devastating plan to Noah, the annihilation of all flesh through a flood, and provided precise, meticulous instructions on constructing an ark that would save him, his family, and a remnant of all living creatures. "Make thee an ark of gopher wood rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within, and without with pitch," Genesis 6:14. The task was colossal, requiring not just physical strength and skill, but an unyielding faith that would withstand years of mockery and doubt. Noah, with unwavering resolve, executed every detail exactly as God commanded, demonstrating a profound trust in the divine plan. Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him. So did he, Genesis 6:22. Upon completing the ark, God commanded Noah to gather his family and the chosen animals, securing them within the safety of the ark. "And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation," Genesis 7:1. As Noah, his wife, their sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives, along with pairs of every animal species, entered the ark, God himself sealed the door. Then the deluge began, relentless and unforgiving, submerging the earth and eradicating all life outside the ark. For 40 days and nights, the rain fell without ceasing, and the waters dominated the earth for 150 days. The ark, a solitary vessel in a world drowned by water, carried Noah, his family, and the animals safely. Eventually, the waters began to recede, and the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. As the days passed, Noah sent out a dove, which returned with an olive leaf, an unmistakable sign that the earth was becoming habitable once more. When the waters had completely receded, God instructed Noah to leave the ark and breathe life back into the desolate world. "Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife, and thy sons wives with thee," Genesis 8:16. In deep gratitude, Noah built an altar and offered sacrifices to God. In response, God blessed Noah and his family, sealing a covenant with them, vowing never to destroy the earth by flood again. And God said, "This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth," Genesis 9:12-13. Chosen by God for their righteousness, Noah and his family became the progenitors of a renewed humanity, each son bearing the responsibility of founding new peoples and nations. God's command to Noah's sons after the flood was unequivocal: repopulate the earth and spread their lineages across the globe, each son destined to fill a distinct region. The task began with Shem. Shem, the firstborn, is closely associated with the Middle East and is regarded as the ancestor of the Semitic peoples, including the Hebrews and Arabs. The Bible emphasizes Shem's lineage for its profound spiritual and historical significance, as it is from this line that Abraham, the patriarch of Israel, would emerge. God promised Abraham, In thee shall all families of the earth be blessed, Genesis 12:3. Shem and his descendants played a pivotal role in the rise of great civilizations and religious traditions that continue to shape the modern world. The Bible tells us the children of Shem, Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram, and the children of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Meshech. Genesis 10:22-23. These names resonate through history, echoing the lasting influence of the cultures that sprang from this lineage. Japheth, the second son, was tasked with populating Europe and parts of Asia. His descendants are linked to a variety of European and Asian nations, symbolizing the vast expansion and cultural diversity that arose in these regions. The Bible mentions the sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tyrus, Genesis 10:2. These names reflect a wide geographical reach, indicating the vast array of cultures and civilizations that flourished under Japheth's lineage. The Bible also says, God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant, Genesis 9:27. This verse not only highlights Japheth's blessing, but also the intricate connection between the lineages of Noah's sons, each playing a distinct role in the unfolding of human history. Ham, the third son, had a special designation to repopulate the regions of Africa. Ham's lineage is of particular interest to the history of African peoples, as his descendants gave rise to many of the ancient African civilizations. The Bible lists the sons of Ham, the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Put in Canaan, Genesis 10:6. These names are synonymous with great African nations and cultures, each contributing significantly to the formation of the African identities and traditions we know today. Noah's sons, with their distinct missions, mapped out a repopulation plan that reflected the diversity and richness of divine creation. The blessings and responsibilities they received from Noah were both a privilege and a great duty. Each son and his descendants fulfilled their role in rebuilding the post-flood world, establishing cultural and spiritual foundations that endure to this day. Each of them left an indelible mark on biblical history and the formation of peoples and nations. The Bible tells us, and the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan, Genesis 10:6. These descendants are fundamental to understanding the origin and spread of African peoples and other ancient civilizations. We begin our exploration with Cush, whose descendants are associated with Ethiopia and Sudan, regions that hosted powerful and influential cultures. Cush is often remembered as the progenitor of the Ethiopians and Nubians, peoples who played crucial roles in Africa's history. One of Cush's most notable descendants was Nimrod, known for his strength and leadership skills. The Bible records, and Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one on the earth, Genesis 10:8. Nimrod is credited with founding great cities like Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, all in the land of Shinar. His story is closely linked to the construction of the Tower of Babel, a narrative that illustrates linguistic diversity and the dispersion of nations. The Tower of Babel is one of the Bible's most fascinating accounts. Noah's descendants, led by Nimrod, decided to build a city and a tower that would reach the heavens, defying God's command to spread out and repopulate the earth. Seeing the arrogance of humanity, God confused their languages and scattered them across the face of the earth. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth, Genesis 11:9. This event marked the beginning of the multitude of languages and cultures, highlighting the importance of obedience to God. Mizraim, another son of Ham, is associated with the ancient Egyptians. Egypt, with its rich history and culture, is one of the most fascinating civilizations of the ancient world. The Bible mentions, and Mizraim begat Ludim, and Anamim, and Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, and Pathrusim, and Casluhim, out of whom came Philistim and Caphtorim, Genesis 10:13-14. Egypt is famous for its contributions in various fields, including architecture, medicine, and writing. The pyramids, for instance, are a lasting testament to the Egyptian skill and ingenuity. Egyptian civilization also played a significant role in biblical narratives, frequently interacting with the people of Israel. Phut, the third son of Ham, is less detailed in the scriptures, but his descendants are believed to have settled in parts of Africa, including the Horn of Africa. Although there is less biblical information about Phut, his lineage is still important for understanding the spread of African peoples. Finally, there is Canaan, whose descendants settled in the land that would become known as Canaan, a region of great biblical significance, but not directly linked to African peoples. And Canaan begat Sidon his firstborn and Heth. Genesis 10:15. Before we proceed, it's essential to clarify a curious fact known as the curse of Canaan, which many people mistakenly associate with African peoples. The narrative of the curse of Canaan is one of the Bible's most intriguing and at the same time misunderstood stories. After the flood, Noah, a man of the soil, began to cultivate a vineyard. When the wine was ready, Noah drank and unknowingly became drunk. In his state of intoxication, he lay uncovered inside his tent. This seemingly simple scene triggered a series of events that would lead to one of the most discussed curses in the Bible. Ham, one of Noah's 3 sons, saw his father lying naked in the tent. Instead of covering Noah or acting discreetly, Ham went out and told his brothers, Shem and Japheth, about their father's condition. Shem and Japheth, demonstrating respect and wisdom, took a garment, laid it across their shoulders, and walked backward to cover Noah, not looking at their father's nakedness. This act contrasted sharply with Ham's behavior, showing a clear difference in filial respect. When Noah awoke from his wine and learned what his youngest son had done, he pronounced a curse. Noah said, "Cursed be Canaan. A servant of servants shall he be to his brothers." Genesis 9:25. It's interesting to note that the curse was not directed at Ham himself, but at his son Canaan. This detail is significant and has been the subject of many interpretations. The exact reason why Noah chose to curse Canaan instead of Ham is not explicitly detailed in the Bible. Some scholars suggest that this might reflect a prophetic understanding of the future role of Canaan's descendants in relation to the descendants of Shem and Japheth. The curse of Canaan has raised many theological and historical questions. This detail is crucial, as throughout history, this curse was wrongly used to justify the enslavement of African peoples, despite the Bible not supporting such an interpretation. The curse, as described, was a prophecy about the future subjugation of the Canaanites by the nations descended from Shem and Japheth. This distinction is vital to avoid historical and theological misunderstandings. In the biblical context, the curse of Canaan manifested through the conquest of Canaan by the Israelites. The land of Canaan, located in what is now Israel and Palestine, was inhabited by various Canaanite tribes. God promised this land to the descendants of Abraham, and the conquest of Canaan under Joshua was seen as the fulfillment of that promise. And the Lord said to Joshua, "This day will I begin to magnify thee in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that as I was with Moses, so I will be with thee." Joshua 3:7. This event highlighted the fulfillment of Noah's prophecy about Canaan. The erroneous interpretations of the curse of Canaan over the centuries had devastating consequences. During the colonial period, this narrative was distorted to justify slavery and racism, falsely claiming that all descendants of Ham were cursed. It is crucial to dispel this false belief and understand the true biblical context. The curse of Canaan did not apply to all descendants of Ham, but specifically to the Canaanites, and its application was fulfilled in biblical history through the conquest of Canaan. Understanding the curse of Canaan correctly helps us appreciate God's justice and wisdom and avoid historical distortions. The biblical account does not support the idea of a generalized racial or ethnic curse. On the contrary, it highlights specific justice within the context of individual and familial actions. The Lord is righteous in all his ways and holy in all his works, Psalm 145:17. This correct understanding is vital for reconciliation and promoting a biblical reading that respects the dignity of all people. Ham lived in a time when longevity was a striking characteristic of human beings. The Bible gives us a fascinating glimpse into the longevity of the patriarchs, suggesting that pre-flood conditions allowed for lifespans extending over several centuries. Although the Bible does not explicitly record the age of Ham at his death, it is reasonable to assume that he, like his brothers, lived a long and influential life. The longevity of Ham and his brothers Shem and Japheth can be attributed to several factors, including God's blessing upon Noah and his family after the flood. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth. Genesis 9:1. This blessing not only granted them the responsibility of repopulating the earth, but also seems to have extended their lives, allowing them to witness the growth of their families and nations. Ham's long life enabled him to see the development of civilizations and cultures that emerged from his descendants, including the Ethiopians, Egyptians, and Canaanites. The burial of Ham is a subject shrouded in mystery and speculation. While the Bible does not provide specific details about his burial place, ancient traditions and extra-biblical accounts suggest possible locations. One popular theory is that Ham was buried in Africa, possibly in Sudan or Ethiopia, regions associated with his descendants. These areas are rich in traditions and ancient monuments that could be linked to the biblical patriarchs. Another theory suggests that Ham may have been buried in Egypt, given the significant role of his descendants, the Egyptians, in ancient history. Egypt, being one of the oldest and most enduring civilizations, has a rich tradition of funerary practices and monuments dating back to ancient times. The pyramids and tombs in the Valley of the Kings stand as testimonies to the importance the Egyptians placed on the afterlife. If Ham was indeed buried in Egypt, his tomb could be among these grand monuments. The Bible provides hints about the importance of burials in Egyptian culture. And Joseph made the children of Israel swear, saying, God will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones from hence. Genesis 50:25, reflecting the deep connection between the patriarchs and Egypt. In addition to theories about his burial, Jewish and Christian traditions mention Ham in various apocryphal texts and midrashim, offering additional insights into his life and death. The Book of Jubilees, for example, speaks about Ham's life and his disapproval of Canaan's choice to inhabit the lands of Shem. And the land was divided among the sons of Noah, as the Lord had said, and they cast lots for their portions. Jubilees 8:10. These traditions, though not canonical, enrich our understanding of the complex relationships and legacies of the biblical patriarchs. Over the centuries, African civilizations have shaped their own cultural identities around these narratives, reinterpreting them in ways that resonate with their own experiences and historical contexts. In Ethiopia, the descendants of Cush are celebrated in a rich tradition of myths and legends. The story of the Queen of Sheba and her encounter with King Solomon is one of the most well-known. According to Ethiopian tradition, the Queen of Sheba, also known as Makata, traveled to Jerusalem to test Solomon's wisdom. The Bible begins to recount the visit of the Queen of Sheba in 1 Kings 10:1-2. And when the Queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to prove him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train, with camels that bore spices, and very much gold and precious stones. And when she came to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. The queen's arrival was grand, with a procession reflecting the opulence and prestige of her kingdom. She brought valuable gifts, symbolizing respect and acknowledgement of Solomon's fame. When the Queen of Sheba met Solomon, she presented him with numerous challenging questions and riddles, eager to test whether his wisdom truly matched his reputation. Solomon, known for the divine wisdom granted to him by God, answered all of the queen's questions with great discernment and clarity. And Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king, which he told her not. 1 Kings 10:3. The queen was not only impressed by Solomon's answers, but also by the grandeur of his palace, the organization of his kingdom, and the devotion of the people of Israel to their God. The Bible tells us that the Queen of Sheba was left speechless by Solomon's wisdom and achievements. And she said to the king, "It was a true report that I heard in mine own land of thine acts, and of thy wisdom. Howbeit I believed not the words, until I came, and mine eyes had seen it. And behold, the half was not told me thy wisdom, and prosperity exceeded the fame which I heard." 1 Kings 10:6-7. In Egypt, the stories of the descendants of Mizraim are deeply embedded in Egyptian mythology and traditions. The ancient Egyptians developed a complex pantheon of gods and legends that reflect their beliefs and historical experiences. The interaction between the Hebrews and the Egyptians, as narrated in the Exodus, is a significant part of biblical history. "And Moses said unto the people, Fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever." Exodus 14:13. This story of liberation and miracle is remembered not only in Jewish tradition, but also influenced Egyptian interpretations of their interactions with the people of Israel. In the Horn of Africa, traditions associated with the descendants of Put also have their variations and myths. Although less documented, the peoples of this region have incorporated elements of biblical narratives into their own stories and oral traditions. The influence of migrations and cultural exchanges has helped shape a rich heritage of myths that intertwine with biblical stories, reflecting the adaptation and resilience of African cultures. The Canaanite traditions, though not directly linked to African peoples, also influenced regional mythologies. The Canaanites, with their city-states and religious practices, left a significant mark on the history of the region that today comprises Israel and Palestine. Their interactions with the Israelites are a recurring theme in the Bible, highlighting the complex relationship between conquest and coexistence. And the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanites, Hittites and Amorites, and Perizzites and Hivites and Jebusites, and Hivites and Jebusites. Judges 3:5. This coexistence, often tense, contributed to a rich cultural and religious exchange. In conclusion, the account of Noah's sons and their descendants serves as a powerful testament to the divine plan and the unfolding of God's promises throughout history. Each lineage, Shem, Japheth, and Ham, was blessed and entrusted with distinct roles in repopulating the earth, shaping the nations, and fulfilling God's purposes. The story of the curse of Canaan, while often misunderstood, underscores the importance of respecting God's commands and the consequences of disobedience. It reminds us of the need for humility, reverence, and accurate understanding of Scripture. By reflecting on these narratives, we see the intricate ways in which God's providence and justice operate across generations, reaffirming His sovereignty and the profound interconnectedness of all peoples. May we learn from these stories to honor God in our own lives and recognize the divine wisdom guiding our shared human journey. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. And to keep watching, just click on one of the videos appearing on your screen.